Welcome to the Secrets to Mindful Health, where we explore the hidden truths of wellness in all its forms. From physical and mental health to spirituality, join me, your host, Beth Warren, at Nourished by Beth on Instagram and TikTok, registered dietitian for over a decade, and single mom of 6, as I share my personal journey overcoming challenges towards self-love and wellness. Together with my guests, we will inspire and motivate you to prioritize your well-being and create a life of balance and fulfillment. Let's embark on a transformative journey towards a healthier, happier you. I'm glad you're here. In this episode of Secrets to Mindful Health, we explore the intersection of wellness and deliciousness with health coach and cookbook author Rorie Weisberg. Rorie will share her insights on how to cultivate a mindful approach to family meals that promote health and well-being. We'll discuss the importance of mindful eating, balanced nutrition with enjoyment, and how to involve your kids in cooking process to foster a positive relationship with food. We'll learn how to create a home environment that encourages wellness through mindful cooking and eating and get inspired to make every meal a celebration of health. Rorie Weisberg is a wife, mom of 4, a health coach certified in integrative nutrition, die-hard recipe developer, and author of the popular cookbook series, Food You Love That Loves You Back. Her passion? Making a healthy lifestyle doable and delicious. Rorie is the health ambassador of kosher.com, a popular health columnist and lecturer, and founder and CEO of Full and Free LLC, an exclusive line of better for you bread mixes and baking essentials. You can learn more about Rorie's story, product lines, courses, and live demos at www.fullandfree.com or join the @fullandfree community. That's social media, Instagram, etc. Welcome, Rorie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on. I feel like this is going to be the longest I get you to sit with me. You are like the busiest woman ever. And
I've been. I have been. I'm actually in a new chapter of slowing down.
it comes in ebbs and flows, I mean, we're jumping right into things,
Yeah.
but as a what I mean, I'm in awe of you for many reasons, like even from the health perspective for years, but the entrepreneurial ship is like I'm obsessed with you. And I was going to say that when I see women who are starting out or thank God their business starts booming, and I see them out and about, and I kind of remember that look in the eyes that when I was very, very in it, very busy, always running, where you're just a little bit like in a fog. And I kind of like smirk in a way of like, I remember those days of like, whoa, like that's like a lot. And I kind of like give them a little bit of like a pat, because it also feels nice to be seen. I don't even know if they realize they need to be seen, but I'm always like, just do it for as long as you can. And when you start to feel like this is too much and I got to burn out, like I need to take a step back, I need to calm my plate again, then we got to do that.
Yeah, that's me. That's where I've been. It's interesting because I was thinking a little bit this morning. I got into meditation about a year ago and I love it. And I was meditating this morning and what kept coming up for me, like just like a mantra over and over, was like living in alignment, living in alignment.
Mm,
And I think that, my journey really began from illness. Like I came into this, I'm not a weight loss coach. I know I refer so many people to you because that's not my area of expertise. But I was sick for years and I was really sick of being sick.
right.
And what I learned was that when we don't treat our bodies the way our bodies need to be treated, they create symptoms. They don't feel well. And I've been my whole journey began with this passion to respect my body and take care of it and to help it get in alignment. And I worked really hard to do that. And I was so passionate and excited that I want to share that with others and create resources and help other people. And at a certain point, I realized, like, hey, wait, in doing all that, I'm moving out of alignment. I'm getting too busy. I'm not
Mm,
balancing my priorities. And that was a hard thing to have to face. And I think, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of other women entrepreneurs. It's hard. It's really, really, really a lot, especially when it's a business that's a passion business. So yeah, I really relate and resonate with that. And I'm in a place of assessment now and just taking a step back and saying, like, I need to live it to give it.
mm.
In my work, and you as well, like we are ambassadors for what we teach. And so I find that to be like a constant balance.
Yeah.
Work in progress.
For sure, and that's what people need to know is that I always tell people, even though you might be an expert at something, it's not easier for you to do. It just means
Right.
you know better, but it's not
Mhm.
easy.
Mhm.
But you mentioned you started this whole journey because of your own health issues, which is very inspiring. But I wonder how it then manifested into what it is today. Like you have the product lines of
Yeah.
gluten-free flour. I'm not just saying this because I don't, first of all, I'm not a liar and I only say things that I mean, meaning I won't say it if I didn't mean it, is that I totally use your gluten-free flours and the cocoa powder. I don't know if you still make that. Like, is that still part of the line? Because it's like
Yeah.
one of the best cocoa powders I've ever. It matters, guys. Your cocoa powder matters.
Oh, and your baked goods will come out completely different if you use it.
So
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And, but the gluten-free blends, and I remember even, like, how it started and the packaging then, and
You
I
remember we've
mean,
known each other for a long time.
yeah,
We were
I
just
remember it all, and I know because people contact me and say, "Beth, why don't?" Because I would love to make my own bar, FYI world,
yeah.
my own bar of clean, whole ingredients, kosher, etc. Um, so I'm always wanting to, but that's a whole I
It's an
like,
animal.
don't
It's
even
an
know
animal.
how did you come up with a whole food line?
So I'll tell you, I it started as, I went through my own journey to change my health and my life. And I always need to say this because it's so, so important. A very big emphasis is the food. And I scream food, like I'm always about food, but food was like a very, believe it or not, small part of it. It was a
Mm,
huge foundation because we eat at least 3, 4 times a day. Food is so important in the health journey. But for me, it was really the mindset shift. It was the mindset shift, the stress management, the prioritizing sleep, the learning how to exercise in a way that supported my body and not burned it out. It was
mm.
really like the a mental shift and a taking care of my body. The food was a part of it, a big part, for sure. But I always find that very important. That I feel like I need to share that because it's not just about the food. It's a wellness lifestyle.
Mm.
So when I started, I wanted to just teach other women. I wanted to help women live better and feel better, and I did it, and it was super hard. Like people, oh, you love to cook, or oh, no,
Mm,
I
mhm.
love to feel good, and so I've learned the things that enable me to live a life that is empowering and feels good. I mean, I was really like couch bound. I was
Oh
like I
god.
got to a point where I had 3 autoimmune diseases at the age of 30. I was really a mess. I was really a mess. And, I think for a lot of people who just like, they don't feel great, they have to take an Advil every day, or they're living on Marilax and a lot of coffees. And it's like, I just put up a whole series of posts about, I'm fine. I'm fine. They're fine enough that it's not motivating. For me, it was so not fine. It was, my body was screaming and I listened. And but then I moved into this place of like, I didn't know you could feel this good. So
Mm,
you don't know how good you can feel when you're always in fine and it's good enough. You're like, you're fine. But I was so not fine that I moved into so well, like this really good, happy, energized life, that I was like, oh my gosh, people need to learn about this. And so I started coaching one on one. I started developing some groups. I mean, Instagram built a lot of it. It just sort of evolved. And then when my products and the recipes came into the picture was really because I would talk about the lifestyle changes, and some of them are just like, okay, go to sleep earlier, turn off your phone, get movement. Like those are okay, you do them. But when it came to the cooking part, there was such a roadblock for so many people because like
mhm,
I had like 30, 40 recipes that I would like give out to my clients, and but then they would get bored. And for me, a very big motivation was my family. When I learned how much diet affected, and the products that we use, ingredients, really affected my life, I was like, I don't want to feed my kids like duck sauce anymore and
mm.
or like salad dressings and like, and but they didn't want to eat like the plain roasted vegetables and that I was eating. They wanted the food that they like. So it was sort of a combination of my clients needing more and my family needing a lifestyle. And I just became a mad food scientist. Like I never went to culinary school. um I was determined and I started to play. And so as I started developing recipes, I noticed that there were ingredients missing in the marketplace, and primarily
Especially
flour
kosher.
and kosher. Oh, big time. At that time it's improved dramatically. I mean, we're
Mhm.
talking like 12, like we're talking 14 years ago.
Yeah,
So then there was like literally like gluten-free was like rice cakes.
right,
And like
right.
That was
pretzel, like gluten-free pretzels, like all the
right.
fake, like the
They
things you
didn't even
shouldn't go for.
They didn't even have that back
Oh,
then.
wow.
I remember when they came out, I was like, "Oh," and then I looked at the ingredients and I was like, "Oh." And
Oh,
that was a big part of what happened. Like, even let's say the gluten-free challah out there, like everything in canola oil and sugar and and like potato starch and like ugh.
yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, I need to recreate these staples." And so I started playing around with different flours and just a lot of experimenting and realizing the trick was in combining different flours. I learned about the different outcomes or the different properties, better word, of different types of flour, and realizing if you mix them. Another big thing was sifting and blending. All my stuff is
Mm,
pre-sifted and I use extra extra fine, so I kept sourcing different ingredients and improving these mixes. And first it was a way to wash and bench on Shabbos, so there was the gluten-free mix, and then a low carb version for people that had both the metabolic and the digestive challenge.
mhm.
And then came the grain-free flour, which to me was like life changing, because it's just an outstanding flour that really mimics the outcome you get with flour. And because the flour blend is sweet, like not sweet, sweet, but it's not bitter. Flour is bitter.
Right.
You taste white flour, spelt flour, or oat flour, it's bitter. The almond flour and the arrowroot starch and the coconut flour in my blend, it's
Sweet.
not it's not like sweet sweet, but it's
Right,
not
but it
bitter.
has right.
So you can use so much less sweetener in your recipes. So it was just like
Mm,
boom. And I
right.
just started playing. I'm like, I hit something. I'm like, this is amazing. People need this. And it just evolved. I started on my kitchen table, on my dining room table, actually. And I would have, at the time, my daughter was like, what, 14 years old, my older daughter, who's now married with a baby.
Wow.
But she and her friends would come over on Saturday night and we would literally make bags, shake them, and put them in these little brown bags. And I was selling them to clients. And then it moved into selling it to like into a few like health food stores. And eventually I reached out to a manufacturer. It's been a lot. It's a lot. It's been a lot. And then writing the books was
Right.
a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been in a passion. I've been on a drive, and I think that I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I know that these cookbooks and the products have helped like thousands and thousands of people, enable them to make the lifestyle changes, whether they're whoever they're working with. And that's also something that I love, is that I'm not the monopoly on health. I don't believe in a one size fits all. And there's
Mhm.
so many outstanding nutritionists and coaches and people out there who are teaching about wellness, but these products and the books can help so many other coaches make it easier for their
Oh,
clients.
100%. I even refer your stuff easily, and I'm very grateful you took the step with the manufacturers because I hate recommending things that people could never find. And now I not only could recommend your stuff, but I could be like, oh, it's in this store. Like I usually know a store that has it.
Um,
So it's really great. I really like that you really went through your journey like that because a lot of people, again, think this is easy or think this is something that just, oh, I could do it. And it really
you're
manifested a
lucky.
lot
It's
because I
easy
get
for
the
you.
same.
Yeah. No.
No, this was you had a mission, first a passion and then a mission to help with you isolated a need of what's getting in people's way and then you didn't stop for like 14 years. So this is not and it takes over your family and your life and your lifestyle but just really trying to help people. I want to flag something you said earlier that then you actually went on about later but you always started this not only because you didn't feel well because that's something that people can recognize in themselves meaning when you don't feel well it's a very alienating feeling and you feel very alone and you just feel like it's very hard to then get motivated unless you make a decision to I'm going to change this which is very hard when you're feeling in pain and alone and like there's no answers. So, number one, that was very motivating for people to hear if they are in a situation, they can make a decision to try to help change themselves. It's just that decision is really tough, but that's your challenge. And then also, it always came from a place of self love. Like it always came, I want to feel better about me. I want to feel good. I want to take care of me and I always argue. So yes, I help people manage their weight, but I never tell them it should start with a number on a scale as a goal. It won't work because you're supposed to actually love your body as it is right now and you might have a goal to want to improve on it in whatever way makes sense for you, but it can't start from a place of hating your
Yeah.
body. it's that's not the motivation. Like that's not motivating at all. That's very punishing and short-lived. And
It won't work.
I feel from you what came into this world was because it was from that loving place.
Mm. It was really, I've said it so many times with so many clients. This is the voice in my head. Mamala. It's always Mamala. That's how I talk to myself. Like,
Oh,
Mamala, I want to take care of you. Or like, even when it's like to get up early, to do my exercise, to do my meditation and my yoga, it's like my sacred time in the morning. It's not easy to always get up at 6:30 when the alarm rings.
I
It's
don't
not.
know
I
when it
want to.
is.
Like I want. So some days, like I'm like I don't know. It's also like where I am in my cycle. Like it's like easier.
Hmm.
And some days it's like, Mamala, I know, but you are going to feel so good when you're done. And I
Yeah,
want you to have that. Not like you have to do this because blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. But that's why I always say the mindset shift. It until I changed my mindset about why I'm doing this, like what's your why? And I changed the way I talk to myself and the way I relate to the health changes. That was everything.
Right. You did start by saying that. So I want people to take that away. It's the mindset shift, but the what's your why is a very good journal entry. Heading, what's your why? I mean, you said you started to get into meditation. I wonder how I relate to meditation. I do a lot of hot yoga now that I actually because I do it so often. By the way, that's why they call yoga a practice. I
Yeah.
understand why they call it a practice because you have to work at it for like a lot and consistently to start to feel the mental benefits. They talk about it and connecting with breath and connecting with it can be kind of like a all-encompassing version of meditation, breath work, movement. It's really actually quite incredible, but to get to that point you have to practice and you always have to show up, and some days you don't feel it, but that's
Hmm.
okay too because that's what you needed that day. And so I guess I meditate. I try to intentionally meditate. I try to sit in shavasana a little longer. And then I just try to, like you said, alignment. I really connected with that. I did my 2025 goals recently on a reel, and one of them was stay in alignment or keep in aligned with myself. Aligned is a really powerful word,
Yeah.
and I like it. So I try to just reconnect throughout the day. I would love to get more meditation. I use it more for sleep, like to get to sleep, but
Mm.
not as meditation. How do
So
you meditate?
yeah,
What's
so it's
your
interesting. I struggled with meditation for years. I've heard how important it is. I mean, from the very beginning of my journey, and it was just like I'm like, okay, I'm sitting and I'm breathing, and now what? And it didn't connect to it. And then a little over a year ago, I actually I got in. Well, no, much longer. Three years ago, I got into breath work. If you've
mm,
ever heard of Folly Klein.
no, but I did some intense breath work sessions. I worked it into my retreat, but I was like, we got to just do
Um,
a basic,
so
basic
I
breath work.
So I got into breath work, and from there, I was introduced to a woman who also does breath work. Her name is Kaylee, and she teaches a lot of different amazing modalities. But from her, I really learned a new way of meditating. She teaches about doing what's called a repair meditation, which is where you relax the body and you visualize yourself. Like she walks you through a whole thing. Like you're on a beach, and then you go into like this like any type of vehicle that like pops in your head and it shrinks and it goes into your body, and you can actually like let your body go where it wants to go and repair that part. And then after you repair, you're visualizing this, and then you breathe and you sit with it, and you're just there with that part. And it's crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but like I literally get messages from my body. Like your body will
Hmm.
tell you what it needs, and it's so powerful. And she taught me other like visualizations of like visualizing like your healthiest self and things that you want to achieve, and then just presencing, like just noticing the sound you just heard, noticing your breath, noticing the bubbling that you just felt in your stomach or whatever it is, just being present. So I do a different I have like a whole toolbox of different meditations that I've learned. And at first, I had to do it with a recording.
Hmm.
And now, thank God, I mean, it's been over a year of working at it, and I can actually do them on my own. And it is so calming to the nervous system, and I feel like it's really helped me grow as a person.
Hmm.
And I think it's also just it's good for like reducing cortisol. I really find it to be really a big game changer.
I think I'm gonna make that a 2025 goal. I have like now like 3 pages of 2025 goals, but I like goals because I do one thing I can add to that is that once you find that connecting feeling or whatever you feel in meditation, that's great. Like, because then you know the
It brings you
state.
back to self. It's all about,
Mhm.
well, you know what? I think when you go in with this mindset of I'm here to take care of you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to nurture you. And all these things I'm doing, whether it's the exercise or the preparing food or eating nourishing food or sitting down to eat a meal without my phone or turning my phone off an hour or two before bed, getting into bed early, all these health things that we know are so good for us and doing them when it's motivated by this energy of I want to be your best friend. I want to be your mama. I want to take care of you. The meditation just enables you to connect to that part of you more. That's what I found.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, and I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking of so many people and women who don't allow that love to come in, but I would just tell them to get curious about that, and that says a lot, and that's really where their work should start, whether with a therapist or something,
Yeah.
but, there's many people that have that block that they can't even allow themselves to love themselves, like, and that's very telling. That's information that you need, and a real sign why you're not able to quote unquote meditate. Like you can't even think of it. You just
And I think to that, like, really, I think, but even to that, like, owning that requires a lot of compassion. It's not
mhm.
because you're bad or don't want to love yourself. There's reason.
Yeah.
And to work through, like we've all had our journey. This is it. It's like the wellness is like it's mind, body, soul, everything.
Mhm.
It's just it's
The alignment.
the alignment. And the more you're in it, it just keeps evolving. Thank God.
It does. Or
It
you could get
does.
back to it or you flag it quicker because everyone gets thrown off their game. Things happen in your life all the time. And next
All
thing
the
you know,
time.
you're like, wait, but you know you feel out of alignment. Like I'll like say it out loud, be like, there's something, and I'll sometimes call it energy. I was like, there's something I just like I feel out of touch. And then but like you said, you get tools in your toolbox. I'll go to yoga, push myself to yoga because that's what connects me, or I'll do
Take an
something.
Epsom salt bath or journal,
Yeah.
call a friend or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just it's getting those tools. It's self-awareness, it's self-compassion.
And
It's
it's
just
called self-work for a reason. Like it is its own level of work, but it's a gift that keeps on giving work, like anything in wellness. That's the thing. I want to touch on your cookbooks, especially because it's very interesting. You didn't start as a chef yet. I just want people to know that when Rory says cookbooks, these are not my like 50 recipe cookbooks. These are like a Megillah, like gigantic, bigger Megillah. I mean, what is it?
yeah,
What a
there's
cookbook?
right now between the two books, there's the first Food You Love That Loves You Back, which was published 2 years ago. I authored this book on my own, and Sarah Goldstein did the magnificent photography. And then this past, like last month, we came out with more Food You Love That Loves You Back. I co authored this time with Sarah. Because Sarah is a chef,
Yeah,
and
she's very talented.
she's super talented. And when we worked together on the first book, she really learned the cooking style. And she actually
Mm,
shares in the book on how she started feeling better. And her husband was like, "You need to keep cooking this way."
wow.
And she really loved cooking with healthier ingredients. It changed her life. And she was able to take her culinary skills and expertise with the education that I gave her in terms of like which ingredients and swapping. And just we were able together to create a whole new level of wow. So between the two books, we have over 500 recipes that really take you from like
500. That's
yeah, they're
crazy.
really so
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch,
Ooh.
dinner, Shabbos, Yantif, Hanukkah, vacation, like traveling recipes, kid-friendly things, like vegan. We did a whole vegan section in the new book. We did a snack section, so many desserts, unique salads, soups. I mean, there's just we even did a drink section in the new book. So my goal in these books was to really make it a lifestyle that you
Mhm.
don't feel like you're missing anything. And that really for me was believe it or not, I like very simple plain food. I do not care. I know it sounds so funny because I've got all these recipes, but just give me place the roasted chicken, green beans, and a sweet potato, and I'm very
Right.
happy. But I have my family, and like every time they were like, oh, but I want that. I'm like, I will find a way to make it.
You
And
sound
that
like
was
that person. That's what I mean. It sounds like even your cookbooks are driven by isolating a need that people
yeah,
might have, and you
yeah,
answered it, and you
yeah.
answered it again and again and again times 500. What I liked about it is that aspect that you touched on everything and then some, not just touched. You showed 4 ways to do something, or not just one, and all that. Uh, So I think it stopped though.
Yeah, yeah, no, my son called me from yeshiva.
Oh, it's on again.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
no worries. No worries. We could take it off.
yeah,
Okay. That you can do four of something and all that kind of stuff. But what I really liked is that a lot of times when people think healthy recipes, or even with you speaking about gluten free, they're like, oh no, I got to buy all these ingredients. You're actually not overwhelming when it
thank you.
comes to ingredients. You do not have to shop in any specialty stores, especially the fact that Rorie's flours are out in most
Yeah.
mainstream supermarkets, especially the kosher world. And I'm sure you're on Amazon,
Yeah,
right?
Amazon,
Or
my
is
website, and also
Amazon, if not?
for my new book, this was a very big request from all over. I gave alternatives to my flours. So you can use almond
Yeah.
flour in some of them. You can use oat flour. Some of them will tell you to use spelt flour. Not all of them will be always the same. But I really thank you for noting that, because I'm getting that feedback over and over. Like, oh my gosh, there's no weird, like, coconut aminos is maybe the most unique thing, but they have that everywhere now. I mean,
Everywhere, Trader Joe's,
yeah,
and it's
so it's
kosher
just it's
there.
easy to find and family friendly, normal food that people want to eat. It's interesting. A big rabbi actually reached out to me. It was really cool. He said he's had Crohn's since he's 17 years old, married with a
Oh
family,
gosh.
and he said until your books came out, I felt like the alien at the table. There was like my plate, and then my wife would cook for everyone else, and I had to just like eat the boring food. And now we all eat the same food, and I can partake in Yantif like everyone else. And he's like, it's literally since I'm 17 years old, and this is probably someone who's in their 50s, said like this, like you changed my entire life. And thank you. I have
Oh.
messages like that all the time. And it just, I'm so grateful. I'm thankful to Hashem that he gave me the challenge and this like creative mind like together, because together they just made magic that I hope Baruch Hashem is really helping so many people. And I'm so, so grateful.
Yeah, it's not just magic, it's like keeps being magical. Like you don't stop. It's like well, now you're gonna take some time, which I
Yeah.
really want you to do,
Yeah.
but I'm sure with the time you'll be like, "Oh, this will be my next thing."
Oh, you have no idea.
Um,
My brain doesn't stop, but I just keep telling it. I'm like, where we have it later, not now.
yeah.
Now it's time for me. And it was funny. My dad is like a really big cheerleader of mine, and he like, I mean, thank God, I've helped women who have struggled with fertility or other health related issues that do not enable them to like have the energy to have a child, have babies.
Mhm.
And he's heard the stories, and he's like, Rory, you've got to. And I'm like, right now I have a really special client. Her name is Rory.
Oh, I love
Yeah, and
that.
I'm like, and she is priority right now. I need a little reboot. I pushed the envelope too much to get this book out.
For
Also
sure.
in the I signed my contract for the first book 4 years ago. Literally from the time I signed the contract till the second book came out was not even 4 full years. That's a lot. And at the same time, thank God, I married off two children and became a grandmother twice over
Oh,
and helping
yay.
my kids. And it just, there's been a lot. And and the products and Instagram and it's beautiful and I love it all. And I don't want to give anything up. I'm in a place now of like reassess to see like where I can balance what to make it work that I still can take care of the mama love. It was my goal in the beginning.
Yeah, I love that. And with space, you get clarity on things
100%.
like that. It's hard to see it
I
or
you,
know
you
what that
nailed it. You
means.
said it's so crazy because in the summer I actually listened to a podcast and they showed those clocks that they sync up with each other. So it
Mhm.
showed the clocks. It was actually this Kaylee that I referred to. She had done a class and she showed like these the clocks and they were off balance like this. And then they
Mm.
lifted them up and they put them on like something that created space, like it wasn't on a hard surface. And within like seconds, they synced back up. And
Hmm.
my head went, you need space. You need
Right.
space. So from that was like in July. Okay. So July, August, September, October, November. I launched the book. I did two book signings. I did not do one demo. I did not do one event. And I thank God I probably turned down 60 things. I mean, we're doing this because it's something I could do at home. But
Yeah.
I said so many no's over the last 4 months, 5 months, because my goal, I was so clear to me that every time I say no, I'm saying yes to creating space for me. And I'm Hashem, like these opportunities will come. Unfortunately, the need for people to have support to take care of themselves is not going anywhere.
Right,
So that was
right.
something I had to
Well,
tell
that's
myself.
also boundaries, like, for
Yeah,
yourself, knowing
yeah.
what you need to do for
And
you. I
again,
love
I
that.
have to be an example of it. I have to live it to give it. And not just because I don't want to be a liar and I want to be authentic. It's that living in alignment. It doesn't feel good to preach one thing and not live it. Like I know the truth,
Yeah,
and it
right.
just
Like, you
didn't.
can't lie about it. Like, you have to
No,
be
I
honest and accountable.
yeah, I'm a very honest, straight person. Thank God, it's something. I think it's a good thing. And in that same niggling was like,
Right, right. I love
and I think
that.
it's such an important message to share with people because, you know, we all, our society pushes us to like do more, do more, do more. And I want to like just be share like, okay, sometimes doing more is saying no. And that's good.
Mm,
Like, I want to empower women. This is part of taking care of ourselves. That's what I stand for.
yes.
Taking care of ourselves. Yes, prepping the food and doing the exercise and getting to sleep. That's all really important, taking care of ourselves. But this is like big, you know?
It's also very empowering of a feeling, but I was gonna ask what you wanted to end with as a message. I
Yeah,
feel like that was a
yeah,
really good one
yeah,
to end with. So we can follow Rory at Full and Free on Instagram, and her website's fullandfree.com,
yeah.
where you can find also her flowers and her books. But I want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm happy I was like your chosen. Yes.
Yes, and I just want to also add, like God willing, I'm not taking on new clients right now, but I do, and I love working with people. So we're just putting together a waiting list. Please be in touch, and thank you, Beth. And I'm always referring to Beth because there's no
No.
really. I get so many people asking about weight loss, and that's just not my area. But there are so few people in the weight loss space that are body positive and have such a good message and really create a balanced lifestyle that's sustainable and like that is you and I
Mhm.
love knowing that like that is such a good healthy resource for people that are looking because that's a respect like people like it's a goal that many people need and just
Yeah.
I love the way you approach it and
Thank you. Yeah, I'd rather
yeah
help support them, safely and balanced. So we're very aligned in that, and I love that about us always.
yeah
So thank you so much for coming
thank you
on.
for the opportunity and feel good
Well, love you. Good luck with
thank
everything.
you.
Don't forget to hit subscribe or follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nourished by Beth or listen on Spotify at the Secrets to Mindful Health podcast.